inspire you to pick up yourself and go. You will find it's all you need to do. Reach down inside and find out you're the one. The one to fly, yeah. The one to read, yeah. You can do all things, just choose it.
Here on the Denise Newsome Show, we give exposure where exposure is due. I am your host, Denise Newsome. I am going to ask you to please like, share, comment, subscribe, and give us some warm hearts and likes. This evening, our topic is creating your energy. We have John Martin Sr. with us, who wears many hats. Just to name a few: CEO, author, coach. John, tell us about yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate having the opportunity to be on your show, Mrs. Newsome. Thank you for reaching out. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I'm 41 years old. I'm a parent of two. I just had a birthday recently. I'm part of the Libra gang, so shout out to all the Libras. Entrepreneur, author. I do run a marketing company here in the Midwest. I'm born and raised in Des Moines, Iowa. And what else? I just basically, I write books in regard to self-help, just creating your own energy, creating momentum for yourself. I'm a playwright. I also have been a promoter for the last 10 years, ranging from community events, home buying seminars, all the way to like mother-son balls and comedy shows with national comedians, just entertainment, nightlife events, themed parties, all sorts of things. I'm just a community guy here in Des Moines, Iowa.
All right. That's wonderful. You're doing great things.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're so welcome. What does it mean to create energy?
Well, a lot of times we kind of get in a slump, depending on, life happens to us all, and we all have great ambition, great ambitious ideas. We all, God gifts us with different ideas that come into our minds that it's up to us to create. But in order for us to create those situations, we got to create the energy and the momentum to fire start those products. For example, when it came down to me wanting to spread awareness of the lack of education that I felt that my son was getting in the public school system here in Des Moines, it was up to me to create a product, and that product was a comedy show, which was entertainment. But I really feel entertainment is a huge part of creating energy and creating a setting to where you can educate people. Entertainment falls right in hand with that. So the product was the comedy show, but I had to create my energy. I had to create energy in order to make that happen. So I had to self-start myself. I had to get up every morning. I had to write my goals down. I had to be in the physical. I had to have the right physical energy to, follow through and see it to fruition and make things happen. So creating your own energy is very important because it's up to us. The thoughts that come into our head are our thoughts. We sort of had like an obligation to follow through on those thoughts, and we can't depend on anybody else. Nobody's gonna come over to your house every day and wake you up, knock at your door and wake you up. You gotta be about that. You gotta make things happen. So
Exactly. So what made you decide, to come up with create your own energy? Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, when you were introducing me, I wear a lot of hats. and I try to stay as busy as possible. The reason why I try to stay busy as possible is because I feel like, you know, we have a limited time in this world, and to make an impact and to help the next man, we have to be about it every day. I mean, this is our time that we're granted. We can't take it for granted. So in order for us to, or in order for me anyway, to, you know, make this happen, I felt like I had to basically check myself. I basically had to become self-aware. I had to study myself. I had to make sure that that I can, you know, move forward and try to help as many people as I can. But, you know, when I started moving and started creating these lanes and started doing all this stuff, I had a lot of people say, "Hey, how are you doing all this?" So I just thought to myself, like, let me write a book about it. Let me explain to people some of the things that I had to tell myself to get me started, to get me moving, you know, in the right direction. And that book is called 8 Conversations to Have with Yourself. I have it right here. It's a little mini little book. It's a 60-page book. You know, no filler. It's just straight back to back on conversations to have with yourself to get you into a mode of grind and mode of, you know, just being productive with your time.
Right. So I know that you have several books. Tell us about a couple of your books, you know, about your books.
Okay, definitely. I started with the children's book. It's and the children's book was in regard to a boy named Rodney, a young boy, and I try to make it relatable as possible. I try to have him kind of portray the image that I had when I was growing up. He comes from a young single mother household, and he kind of had a low self-esteem because the curriculum in the school system doesn't really fit him, you know. So you know, a lot of the teachers, you know, he just really didn't fit in with a lot of the things. So he had a low self-esteem growing up. He didn't have a lot of the stylish clothes. He came from poverty. And one day when he was walking, he found a ring on the ground. And when he put that ring on, he felt like it gave him superpowers, superhuman powers. And a few of those superhuman powers would be basically just raising your hand in class, being productive, participating in class, standing up to bullies, you know, just having a mindset to where you're thinking things through. And so that gave him the confidence. The ring gave him confidence, but one day he lost the ring, and he continued to perform in a great way. So he realized at the end of the book, and what I wanted kids to realize is that your confidence in everything is already in you. You just got to bring it out. It's not on you. So him losing the ring was just a huge benefit for him to self-discover himself. So after that, that book came out, I got a lot of really good feedback. And when we talk about energy, right? When we talk about energy, the energy that I got from the feedback, it was on and popping, and the light bulb went off. Like, oh, I got to continue to write. Right. You know, it just fed me. As much as I felt like I was helping kids, the energy that I got from the responses, it was actually starting to help me. You know, so I decided to write a book. My next release was called 8 Conversations to Have with Your Son. I got a 21-year-old son, and I just went through stories and conversations that we've had over the years that I feel helped him develop a leadership attitude. My son went through high school, never involved himself with drugs and alcohol, and that's super big.
It is,
especially with my background. You know, I came up in the streets, and I came up in, you know, in a totally different lifestyle that he kind of steered clear from. And some of these conversations I felt were beneficial for other single dads and other just parents, especially young parents, to try to articulate different ways of understanding, you know, just having just creating better dialogue between you and your son. 'Cause a lot of times, with communication gaps, generation gaps, from generation to generation, like sometimes it's foreign, especially like me talking to my teenage daughter, like it's so foreign. Like we bump heads a lot. Like we don't understand each other. So I think, having better crucial conversations and having a better understanding of who's around you, your loved ones, I think that really helps. So to answer your question, I have 4 different books in that conversation series. They're all small little books. I call them flight reads. So if you're on a flight, I mean, you could read the whole book,
Right.
and they're packed with all kinds of information.
Yes.
I don't believe in a 300-400 page book that might take you forever to read. I want to be very impactful. There's no filler. Every sentence is intentional, and so it's a 4-pack series. It's 8 conversations to have with yourself, which I really encourage people to read first.
I started reading mine.
And then I have 8 conversations to have with your daughter.
Yes.
And then 8 conversations to have with your son. And then 8 conversations to have with your co-parent, which I'm sold out of that copy. But I really feel like with your co-parent situation, I made a lot of tons of mistakes with my co-parents. And me looking back, me being able to reflect on the last 20 years, I understand how I created a disadvantage for my kids because just little things that me and their parents could have, me and their moms could have worked on. We don't have to be together, but we just have to have a better understanding and better communication. And, a lot of times we treat the people we work with, our coworkers, better than the people that we created life with. And, I think that's just backwards. So, so the 4-book series is about family empowerment, family structure. Even if, like I said with the co-parent book, even if you're not with the co-parent, even if they're in a totally different household and they moved on and they started a family of their own, at least having these 8 conversations and really digging in and thinking these through would create a better bond between you and your co-parent to just focus on the kids, because that's the priority, so.
It is. It is. So tell us a little bit tell us some of your trials and tribulations that have slowed you down.
Slowed me down. Okay. There's been a lot. I mean, I've been a single parent. I've been in relationships. I've been, it just, life happens just like all of us. Earlier this year, my stepdad, who's really been my dad since I was 5. So I only call him stepdad because I don't know. He's my real dad, really.
Right.
But he passed away earlier this year due to cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
Fight for the last year of his life. He struggled. He fought hard, and that death happens. Death sets us back. At times it gives us a whole different evaluation of life. It gives us a time to reflect and see where we made mistakes, trials and tribulations. I got kicked out of every school I've ever went to, besides college anyway. I can
relate to that for sure.
I'm sorry?
I said I can relate to that for sure, as far as being put out of school, and so I definitely understand that.
Yeah, so with the energy situation, back in the 90s, my energy was devoted towards hustling in the streets and feeling like making $1 million that way, trying to selling drugs and all that. So a lot of the trials and tribulations I went through there, I was robbed. I've had some near-death experiences that way. So years later, that affects, I have been diagnosed with PTSD from certain situations. But the thing is that, everything we go through, and everything we go through, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, So that was just another tier, another notch on my belt to get to where I am today, So Yeah, a lot of trials and tribulations. I go through trials and tribulations every day. I got a 15-year-old daughter, so so that trials and tribulations right there. I mean, we battle. She's the love of my life, but there's certain situations or there's certain things that she will get to understand as she gets older. And me being her dad, there's certain things that I have to realize I can't teach her everything that she needs to know, because she's not going to listen to everything if it's coming from me. That's what a lot of us parents need to realize too. When we talk about trials and tribulations, a lot of us stress over our kids, and we want them to be the best. We want them to make the best decisions possible. And I would never tell anybody not to put energy into their kids. But what I will say is this, is that when it comes to raising our kids, we have to realize that they do learn on their own time. When you look back at your own childhood, did you really listen to your parents when you were a teenager? Everybody goes through a stage, and sometimes it's not up to you to be hands-on with the teaching. Sometimes you got to let life teach your kids too,
Exactly.
And that's just what it is. So
Exactly. So the trials and tribulations that you have gone through back then and even now, especially now that you made that change in your life, have you ever felt like giving up or from
oh
your
yeah,
trials and tribulations?
yeah, you know what? I've definitely felt like giving up. I mean, there's been times where, especially, being like a single parent, and trying to, have the best, like you want the best situation possible, and you paint this picture how you want things to be, and when they don't go that way, it's like, and there's times where you want to give up. There's times as a businessman, definitely, there's been times where I've been told no several times.
Yes.
But you keep fighting until you hear that yes, that one yes could change your life. So
yes,
it's just it's definitely something that everybody goes through. Everybody feels like giving up from time to time. But what I will say is this: is that if you're granted the opportunity to wake up the next day, it's not at your own will. It's intentional, and it's a higher power that gave you life, and it's up to you to continue to really take advantage of that time, because it's not just about you. It's not just, if it was just about you and you felt like giving up, then hey, things would have happened a different way, but there's a higher power that gives you an ability to keep going, and you got to really tap in. You got to really understand, like, hey, if if my higher power is giving me that, I got to keep going. I got to keep going for everybody around me and take care of my surroundings. So that's where I get my my fight every day. I mean, I'm just like everybody else. I battle with depression. I battle with PTSD, like I said.
right.
And I think one thing that helps me is staying busy and trying to create different things. I love creating, and you could definitely relate, because we've talked, in your past is your past, and what you do on a day-to-day with the screen playwriting and everything you do. You could definitely relate to creating is very important to pushing your energy, so
Exactly. That is so true. But now with that, how, for those that are watching, how do you create energy?
it's going to sound funny. All right, no, it might not even sound funny. What I'm gonna say is this: one thing is being physically active, moving the body. Simple things like moving the body gets your blood flowing. You're not stagnant. It gets your blood flowing. You're eating the right foods, that creates good energy. The power foods, I mean, they're not lying when they say power foods like kale and spinach and stuff like that. Like, it's very important. The sea moss. I started using sea moss at the beginning of this year. That's very important. And I take 2 tablespoons a day, so that even just that little bit of of natural energy that creates in you, that gives me the ability to think things through, that gives me the ability to be in the right mind frame for anything that comes along, you know. So but that's but being physical, you know, moving around, that helps a lot. I write a lot of stuff down because when I see it on paper, I'm able to visualize it, and you know, seeing things all the way through to the end. So for example, if I start a project, I focus on how it's going to look at the end. So until it looks like that, I'm not stopping, you know. And that just creates my energy too, being around the right people.
Exactly.
Sometimes, a lot of times, I got to be by myself because you know, when you walk into a room full of people, you don't know what's all in the room, you
Right.
know. And a lot of that energy is bad energy, and you got to
Yes.
watch yourself. You got to watch who you're around. You got to watch, what you consume. Just not only just the food that we eat is very important, because a lot of the food that we eat makes us sluggish.
Yes.
A lot of fried foods and all that. And I know I touched on food just a minute ago, but I wanted to reiterate, like,
Yes.
a lot of that stuff is bad for us. It slows us down. But not only the food that we intake, but it's what we listen to, the music we listen to. I just stopped listening to. I'm 41 years old, and I grew up on rap music. I just stopped listening to music that talks about killing us. I had to just cut that out. And that means I got to cut off the radio, because that's all you hear on the radio nowadays is music about, just devilish music about killing us, killing each other. That's all we hear. So I had to cut that out, keep my energy straight. You know, what I read, you know, I make sure that what I watch on TV is not, it's not anything that's counterproductive to what I got going on, you know. So a lot of us, we let outside forces, a lot of outside forces dictate how we move, you know. And it's not, once we realize that that's not healthy for us, then we got to cut a lot of things out.
Right. Right. That's so true and so powerful at the same token. And the positive influence play a big part in our
Mhm.
energy, where we get our energy from. Now, what advice would you give those that are watching or will be watching?
Mhm.
What advice?
One thing I would say is, it's not possible to have a bad day. I mean, you got 24 hours in a day. It's not possible. We have the ability to think our way through anything, and we got the ability to turn anything, any situation in our minds to a positive situation with a snap of a finger. We have the ability to say, hey, you know what? We might have a bad moment, but that next moment, we could change up. We could change our attitude. And it's very important to get in that mindset of thinking and being accountable on how we think. You know, sometimes we might be in traffic. Somebody cuts us off in traffic.
Yeah,
And 4 or 5 hours later, we're still in a bad mood from that.
from that.
Like, come on, like, let them go. It's okay. We still have to be in control of our emotions, in control of how how we act. And a lot of us we let the wind blow us any direction.
Yes.
You know, we got to stand on our 10 toes. We have the ability our God gave us a gift to think from moment to moment. So you can't have a bad day. You can only have bad moments. So that's one of the best things that I've heard, that helped me change my mindset. And it's crucial for everyone to, think like that.
Right.
It
Right.
helps. It really does. It really
It
helps.
does. It really does. Shifting your mind, shifting your mindset, that will start you to witness all sorts of amazing things from God. When you
Hmm.
shift like you were saying, shifting your mind is very important.
Yeah.
Very, very important.
I would also say too is, somebody's opinion of you really doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't. Like, it's their opinion. Everybody has an opinion, and a lot of us, we let wave somebody thinks, determine, how we move around them, or how we feel, even how we feel about ourselves. And we got to understand that everybody grows up and they're shaped and molded by their own experiences in life. So whatever you experience in life, when you approach me, when you meet me for the first time, you're going to have your biased opinions. You're going to think the way you want to think. That's none of my business.
Right.
As long as I know who I am, as long as I know what I need to do for me, and as long as I'm not putting any bad energy in the world towards you, I don't have anything to worry about from you. And I could care less about how you feel about me. I'm gonna continue to take care of my surroundings and do what I need to do. So
Exactly. And once we, be in tune with God and allow Him to help us shift our minds,
yeah,
we can't go wrong. It's nothing but positivity. And then in that situation, the positive energy from us will definitely go into the world, like you said, and then you'll start seeing amazing things happen for other people through you and for you at the
yeah,
same token.
exactly. A lot of people don't understand, like, the aura that you have, the energy that you have. People see it, people feel it. People feel what you bring into the table.
Yes.
And you could sit up here all day and try to front about it and try to act a certain way, but people will see through that. And people, 9 times out of 10, their intuition is not wrong. If they feel negative energy, negative vibes, or whatever, that's something that God gave us the ability to see upon others. And that's very, until you get in tune with yourself, become self-aware, and really study yourself, like this hat says. You got to study yourself. You got to be in tune with who you are. You got to really know yourself. A lot of us wait till we 50, 60 years old, after we done raised kids, after we done worked for the company for the last 30 years and we retire. Then a lot of us start to learn ourselves and start to really, develop another or at that time we have the time to invest in ourselves.
Yes.
We need to invest in ourselves every day, whether it's 20 minutes a day, whether it's an hour a day. Take time to yourself, invest in learning how you feel about certain things, reading, writing, consuming the right energies, and it's going to reflect in everything you do. When you go to work the next day, you're gonna go with your head up, and the people that's gossiping and doing what they do, they're going to continue to do that, but it's not going to affect you anymore, because you're learning who you are, and you're not waiting until you 75 years old and you only got a few years left to understand who you are.
Yes.
So.
For sure. Our time is running out, John. Thank you for watching the Denise Newsome Show.
I told you it was going to go quick. I told you.
I pray that you were inspired and encouraged to practice good faith by knowing that the energy you give off is what you'll attract. Surround yourself with positive influence and you'll project the positive energy you deserve. John, thank you for sharing your trials and tribulations, your experiences and knowledge with us in creating our own energy. You were a blessing to us, and we will definitely have you back.
Please do.
Definitely.
I'm looking forward to it.
For sure. We'll talk. Join us next week. Our topic is Addicted to Death. We have Antoine J. Murphy, a former honor roll student who went from addictive to death, being rewarded a 75-year sentence, to addicted to life, just released from prison 6.5 months ago. You must tune in to see what Antoine has been doing and up to since his release. God bless, be safe. Check out my website, denisenewsome.com. See you next week.
All right.